Hey guys, what is going on? You are checking out an all new The RCWR show covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Did you guys that's checking out the show live right now see that false start? Once again, I have forgot that I had myself on mute because I was trying to let the music play and then slide myself on in there, but we're here now. I'll just edit that out later. You guys gotta forgive me that's checking out the live stream right now, but if you see some of the comments I had put in the chat, I had told you why we were a little bit late coming on. A crazy breaking news story had broke out. I actually was not gonna watch the news. I usually, after I do the show Monday nights, I like to go back, check out the late night news on the DVR, fast forward through the commercials and all that. Really, I'm trying to see what's going on with the weather the next day, but catch up on like the first 15 minutes of the news, see what maybe I might have missed and everything. Because as much as I kind of like to be on the Twitter off and on throughout the day, I really don't know what's going on locally or around the world news-wise. So I like checking out the news late at night. And they had a story, and I'm bringing this up because I wasn't even going to talk about this, but it ties into what I did do over the weekend, right? Okay, so as we all know, and don't worry, we're going to talk plenty of wrestling in a hot second, all right? But we got to segue for a hot minute because I got like some serious stuff I want to lay on you all's shoulders, and I want to give you guys the biggest piece of advice that I possibly can give you right here and now. So just please indulge me for just a couple of minutes. I promise I won't be long-winded, all right? So over the weekend, me and my girl, it was Sunday actually, and I watched probably the first football game that came on at noon, and then almost midway during the second game, so the 4 o'clock game, my girl goes, "Hey hun, you hungry?" I'm like, "Yeah, I actually am hungry." "Well, what do you got a taste for?" I go, "Well, I don't know. I want to cook, but I don't feel like cooking just yet. I'd rather cook Monday." "Okay, so what do you want to eat?" I'm like, I don't really know." "Oh, I tell you what, the Popeyes chicken sandwich, it just came back. And I had it before. My girl didn't. I had it before. I loved it. I thought this shit was orgasmic, all right? So as probably all of you all know, even if you don't eat the daggone thing, you know at least, hey, the chicken sandwich is back from Popeyes. So I say to her, okay, well, let's go ahead. Let's go to Popeyes, right? Let's just do that. And so the original plan, we were going to get 3 of those chicken sandwiches. One for me, she was going to do one, and she was going to get one for her mom because her mom hadn't tried one yet, okay? So we go to the first Popeyes, right? Man, you'd have sworn there was a celebrity of some type that was up in that bad boy because inside the store, it was jam-packed. It was going outside of the store, and it was like a line just wrapping around it, cars just out the ass parked, some kind of like double parked and all that. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying to her, "Oh, no. This is not gonna work. We're gonna need to go elsewhere because this is not gonna work." "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're probably gonna be waiting for at least an hour up in there. Look at that line. That's ridiculous. And it looks as though they only got 2 people working the register, right? Nah, that ain't gonna work." "All right, well, should we maybe try another Popeyes?" I say, "Yeah, let's go ahead, let's do that. Let's try another Popeyes." So we drove about 15 minutes further down the road to another Popeyes, and it was just as worse. And so I say to her, okay, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. Hey, look, I had it the first time. It's a damn good, tasty sandwich. Is it worth waiting a fucking hour? Being out in the cold and all that nonetheless? Nah, man. No, it ain't worth it. And I asked her, I said, well, how did you get the chicken sandwich last time? Because last time she was able to get the sandwich, and I asked her, I said, did you come across any lines? Was it difficult for you? And she was like, no, I was able to walk in, walk out. And when I asked her this go around, I'm like, how were you able to get it so easily last time? She goes, oh, well, that's because I was able to get it when they first opened up, basically. They were only open for like maybe 2 hours, and I had got off work a little early. It's like, Tuesday's my early day. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, so you were able to just walk in. She's like, yeah, so everybody's at school, everybody's still at work, so worked out good for me. I'm like, okay. So we had lines out the ass, right? That's how, I don't know how it was in you all's area. Let me know, I'm curious, but at least over here in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, trying to get those Popeyes chicken sandwiches was freaking crazy. Now I'm bringing that story up because just as I had everything set up to go live right now, sadly here in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, tragedy has struck over a goddamn Popeyes chicken sandwich. All right, shout out to my people in the DMV. So in Oxon Hill, Maryland, Prince George's County, and y'all know the areas real well, you're gonna say, it would happen in PG. Off on Livingston Road, you had a 28-year-old man that got into a fight with another individual over this Popeyes chicken sandwich. And the end result, that 28-year-old man is no longer among the living. That 28-year-old man was stabbed. He was in critical condition when the paramedics had finally got to him and everything. Took him to the hospital. They did what they could for that young man, but he tragically passed away. All right. And apparently when all of this had broke out, this happened at about 7 p.m. this evening. And the lines were just what I just described to you, what I had experienced, right? And Tammy will tell you the same thing about the whole journey. It was ridiculous, right? But you had at this particular Popeyes, you had a long line, and the way that they had broke it up, they had two separate lines. You had the regular line where if you weren't going in there for the chicken sandwich, you were just going in there for your order. Okay, then you could do what you needed to do. And then they had a separate line that was just strictly for the chicken sandwiches. So somehow this 28-year-old got into a verbal altercation with this other individual, led to a fight that spilled out into the streets and everything. He gets stabbed. That's pretty much it, right? I can't stress this enough, boys and girls. Look, man, and the suspect still at large. Victims of the family's victim family members, they are begging for any help. They're begging for the person that did this to their loved one to come forward and everything. And I can't stress it enough, man. Look, I know we got people that's doing some crazy shit. They're going to these Popeyes, they're buying up the sandwiches, they're freezing them up and all that. They're actually putting them on eBay and they're charging ridiculous amounts of crazy freaking money for these sandwiches, right? Okay, so we got people that are in this for the monetary status, right? And then you've got people that, hey man, I had it the first go round. I'm trying to get them for me, my friends, my family, all this other shit, right? I'm like this. It's just a fucking chicken sandwich. It's just food. There is nothing spontaneous. Like, there's nothing magical about this sandwich. This sandwich is not going to make your dick long. This sandwich is not going to cure your cancer. This cancer is not going to take away HIV, right? This chicken sandwich is not going to make you a millionaire overnight. All right, it is just a damn sandwich. I can't stress that enough, people. It's just a sandwich, right? This sandwich, as good as this sandwich is, and look, I love my food. As good as this sandwich is, people, it ain't worth being out there in the cold. It ain't worth being out there for an hour, 2 hours. It damn sure ain't worth getting into a fight with somebody else, and the end result is that person losing their life like this young brother lost their life. It ain't worth it, right? Me and my girl, I just told you, we went to 2 locations. Okay, fuck this. We'll deal with this another time, right? If you are craving that sandwich and you going through the lines and all that other shit, my best advice to you, have patience. If you're gonna go through all that, if you're gonna wait the hour plus, you're gonna be waiting in a long line, all that other shit, be mindful, be respectful, right? And you see some stuff that's going down that looks kind of hostile, don't engage in that. Don't try to rock that boat with that. If it's getting that hostile where you starting to be in a position you feel like you gotta like defend yourself or whatever like that, even more the reason why you should pick up the phone and you should call the police. Straight up. It ain't worth it. If you can help it, don't even be bothered with it. And I'll tell you, Tammy will tell you, I said to her, literally word for word, I said to her, we need to just let a week or 2 weeks go past. Once everybody has had an opportunity to get their fix of the sandwich, then you'll be able to just walk on in there and boom, you'll be able to get it and you'll be able to roll out. We should be good to go, right? So I get it, because it just came back this past weekend. Matter of fact, I think it was on Saturday, and I'm a little bit ashamed of Popeyes. I don't know how it is in you all's area, but it kind of seemed to me the couple of Popeyes that we visited really seemed like they were understaffed, right? You only got like 2 people working the register. Furthermore, you don't have enough common sense to make sure you got enough cooks that's on hand so you could pump these bad boys out as quick as possible, right? I don't know, man. For me, it just seems like it was poorly mismanaged, big time. But I have a feeling that with the news that happened with this young man, I would like to believe that corporate is definitely going to be hearing about this if they haven't already heard about it already. And you know, there's going to be some type of a statement that they're going to put out and all that, but tackle that at a different time. But that's all I really want to say. Please, people, just be careful, be smart out there. It ain't worth it, man. Seriously, it's just a damn sandwich. It ain't worth it. Is it tasty as fuck? Yes, it is. It is delicious, but it ain't worth getting into a fight with somebody over. So from fighting over chicken sandwiches to fighting in the ring, we had a very interesting Monday Night Raw tonight. Of course, we are fresh off of the heels of what was without a doubt one of the best editions of Friday Night SmackDown for 2019. I honestly would have to say, I mean, you're really going back and you're looking at it and you're thinking about where exactly this SmackDown stacks up and everything. And yeah, when you just look at overall 2019 as a whole, that episode that we got of SmackDown this past Friday, hands down one of the best produced. I love the fact that what made it so, wow, this was a really solid episode, this might have been the best WWE produced show for 2019 for me, was the fact that here you had a great position where you had the stuff that went down in Saudi Arabia, and we gotta talk about some of that stuff later on in the show. But I like that, okay, you have this serious handicap where you've got like almost 200 WWE employees that's still grounded in Saudi Arabia. Good majority of those hands are not able to come to this Buffalo, New York show, right, the next day. And it's crunch time, baby. You gotta hustle. You gotta make some moves, and you gotta try to figure out, okay, how are we gonna get this popping? What do we gotta do? What can we do? And to come up with the idea of, well, hell, we're doing this whole Survivor Series thing, right? Well, why not tap into the NXT talent? This is why they're here. Sooner or later, they're gonna move up to the main roster and everything. This would be a good way to kind of engage the audience, see what's popping, who's clicking and everything with them, right? Get that feel of that needle on the gauge, so to speak, right? And I like the fact that during that hustle time, all of those cats on that NXT roster, they rose to the occasion and they delivered a slam dunk. And I also love just kind of taking a step back and really looking at it overall. I really like how they did in just that one episode of establishing key cats from NXT. I really love that. It was refreshing. It was very spontaneous. It was just out of the blue. And I still feel, even though I said what I said on the Friday Night SmackDown review, my only gripe, I really wish that they would not have said at Crown Jewel that it was going to be Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. I really wish they would have just let it be Raw versus SmackDown. Oh yes, the annual, who's going to get the bragging rights? And then you watch SmackDown the next day after Crown Jewel and NXT does what it does, right? Oh my God, that would have been even more buzzworthy cool, right? But you get that well-produced episode of establishing cats from the NXT roster there, establishing that, yeah, these guys can hang with the best that the current main roster has to offer. But then you also toss that mad bone to the women's division and everything, right? Giving them a lot of love. And I gotta say, when you look at pro wrestling as a whole from this past week, man, as far as women's division, as far as women's wrestling goes, last week was really, really fucking awesome when you stop and think about it, right? So, riding off the success of that, then you're going into Monday's Raw, you're wondering, okay, so how much of an impact is NXT going to have on this episode here? Because Triple H had fired the shots and everything, and pretty much the way SmackDown went off with NXT reigning supreme, we get opening the show. How about that? Really stop and think about that for a second. You get the closing act, Triple H, NXT in the middle of the ring, and you're going, good God, now I have to watch Monday Night Raw. And that was one of the things that we had talked about on the Friday night review, which was now you've created that extra incentive for why folks need to be watching Raw, SmackDown, NXT over the course of the next several weeks going into Survivor Series, right? And then at least having those fans stick around post Survivor Series to see the fallout and everything, and where everything is going to be laying out from then on out going into the next pay-per-view and everything. So think about that. You've got Triple H NXT wrapping up Friday Night SmackDown. Gotta see what's happening. Gotta see what's happening on Raw this Monday. What's the very first thing you see? Well, what was the very last thing you see? So very first thing you see on Raw, you've got Triple H, you've got his limos, you're going 2 and 2, 4, okay, so he's got his NXT cats with him. Okay, this is badass. So I love how it was a cliffhanger and you're immediately following up behind that. That was smartly well booked. However that was written, whoever was in charge of setting that all up, that was beautifully executed, right? So I loved all of that. And then, of course, so that's your opening act, right? That's your opening act for Raw. But then you've got a second part to that act that involves Seth Rollins and Triple H, right? That was in itself, okay, this is good. Okay, so now we have somewhat of a better understanding why Triple H is on Raw. He's trying to see who he can pluck from the main roster to basically help him in NXT reign supreme. Okay, this is an interesting dynamic right here. And I know we're kind of going just a little bit all over the place, so stay with me. I mean, the way we try to do this is it's not a full-blown recap. We may title it the way that we title it for the web stream, but it's not a full-blown recap. There's got to be a lot of things clicking on all cylinders in order for me to spend X amount of time talking about one show, right, for almost an hour, basically, right? I mean, we do that with the SmackDown, but you all voted how you wanted that Friday night show to be. Y'all said, nah, we just want strictly talk of SmackDown. But Seth Rollins cutting the promo that he did tonight, not really sure what the future was going to be for him now that he lost the WWE Universal Championship to Bray Wyatt. And I like how he took a little bit of a dig, kind of following up to what he did with that Corey Graves podcast. I listened to a little bit of it. I mainly tried to focus on the transcript. And Seth Rollins, it's still not clicking for this guy. It's still not. He just, different topic. I'll probably get into that a little bit more, maybe on Friday. But I cringed, and Corey did a good job. I'll say that much. Corey did a good job, but, Seth, it's whatever, man. But, of course, everybody's happy that Seth Rollins is no longer the WWE Universal Champion. A lot of people are happy with that. You've had people over the years, even the diehard Seth Rollins fans, man, what are we doing new this go around? What are we doing to try to really shake up Seth Rollins, right? What are we doing right here? And, it's like no matter how many opportunities this young man has had, he's good at chasing it. And you know what I always like to say on this show, the chase is better than the catch. I mean, he's good at chasing after the championship, but after he chases that championship, that's pretty much it for the young brother. He really cannot do anything else, sadly, right? So for me, seeing Seth Rollins cutting this promo, crowd very hostile, happy that he's no longer the champion. He's telling them, I don't give a damn what you think or whatever. It's like, yeah, you do. You do. You take this shit rather personal. And because you hear it in his interviews, right? You hear it in his interviews and everything. And rather than take the self accountability and turn it on himself and try to figure out, okay, well, what do I need to do to really step my game up? What do I really need to do to take myself to that next level, right? I mean, really stop and think about that. A guy in a mask is more over than your multiple attempts with the writers and the bookers and being relevant and everything, right? And this guy's just able to come in and just, you know, internally, you should be looking at that as a challenge. And, you know, the hell with what people on the outside are saying. You can make the argument at the end of the day, yeah, they may be longtime wrestling fans. They watch various products. They know what they're checking out and everything. But, you know, hey, man, they don't know how this company is working on the inside here. You know, okay, all right, you can get away with that. You're absolutely right. You can get away with that. But the hell with the noise. It's no different than some of these players that allow these reporters. What's the guy that just got cut from the Cleveland Browns? Whitehead? Yeah, the crap that he had said to that reporter. Totally uncalled for. Totally uncalled for. First thing I looked at after I saw what he posted to that reporter, first thing I looked up, what's his age? And I see that this cat is 26. I'm going, oh no, he knows better. He knows better. Totally unprofessional, right? So you got to learn how to, when you're a celebrity, when you're an athlete, you know, media personality, you got to learn how to not listen to critics, right? You know, it's one thing, I will say, it's one thing if you're being offered constructive criticism. I always say, as long as a person is approaching you with respect, not necessarily kissing your ass and all that shit, but as long as a person is coming up to you and they're giving you constructive feedback, hey, look, this was working, but this wasn't working, and this is how things can be better. You know, maybe you could consider this. And as long as you're offering it in the most constructive way possible, then I think any feedback is better than no feedback at all, right? So, and it just feels like Seth still doesn't really, you know, it kind of feels like Seth is playing the whole victims card, basically. You know, me, I don't quite understand, you know, whatever, and whatever, it is what it is. But Triple H came out, and interesting dialogue that he had with him, you know, telling him it's interesting, you know, you're always at a crossroads, and I am always there, usually, and look at what's happened with our history. I mean, you and me, we have a very long history with one another. Each time you've wondered what was next for your career. You look at what happened with you in NXT. What was next? Under my guidance, you were able to become the NXT champion, the first NXT champion at that. Then look at what he was able to do with NXT. You know, he largely in part helped put NXT on the map there, right? Then what's next? Okay, you done everything that you could in NXT. What's next? Well, under Triple H, the Shield came about, right? Okay, well, after the Shield, okay, what's next? And he becomes a WWE champion, right? So you see this history there between these two guys on paper, and you're going, okay, all right, see exactly where this is going, and you see exactly where Triple H is going, right? But I like what Seth had said to Triple H there. That was a nice little rebuttal, which was, yeah, you've been with me at those key moments in my career. But was it really to help me, or was it more so to benefit you? Triple H, almost like the devil, does it really matter? I actually chuckled at that. I love that. That was fucking awesome of a nice rebuttal that H had for Seth Rollins. And Seth, yeah, okay, yeah, you got a good point right there. So now you've got this interesting dynamic where Triple H is basically saying to him, come on back home, right? That's what should be next for you. You've pretty much done everything you needed to do. But you come on back home where you really belong, where you really be appreciated. That's pretty much the pitch that was given. And you're thinking maybe this was going to be a case where Seth Rollins was going to have a little bit of time to marinate on this, but no, It was an ultimatum. Triple H putting it out there. You're either with me or you're against me. We saw the boys from Undisputed Era come on out there surrounding the ring. But then we saw members of the OC. They came on out. Undisputed Era backed off a little bit. Then you had Divanok. I always mispronounce that guy's name. You guys got to forgive me. And Damian Priest. They came out, even up the odds a little bit. So at least right there, you had NXT with the upper hand for just a brief second over those cats. But then the rest of the WWE locker room came out. Pretty much the NXT boys had ran away. Nobody attacked Seth Rollins, though, in that interesting segment. Nobody attacked him. Now, we would see after a commercial break, Seth coming back, backstage area, catching up to Triple H, and calling him out on his bullshit and everything, knowing exactly what he's about. And pretty much Seth Rollins drawing his line where he stood, wanting a shot against the NXT champion Adam Cole. So that was actually our main event match of the night, Triple H accepting it. Now, you just can't help but think to yourself, after what happened with Adam Cole taking on Daniel Bryan on Friday Night SmackDown, and there was no interference in that. How about that? There was no interference in that one. Ooh, so we got history repeating itself once again, where we're going to have ourselves a one-on-one match, and it's possible that Seth Rollins could become the NXT champion. Surely we're going to get some interference in this one. Otherwise, it just doesn't kind of make sense, right? Because you could almost make the argument, well, you had a decent amount of NXT talent on SmackDown last week. Why didn't SmackDown, why didn't NXT interfere in that main event match? That's something we sadly will never know. But if you were under the impression that NXT was going to somehow interfere in that main event match between Cole and Rollins, you were absolutely right. Kind of looked as though Seth Rollins was maybe going to have the match in the books and everything, but we saw members of the NXT roster, Undisputed, a couple other cats came on now. Feud pretty much spilling all over the place. Once again, pandemonium, whole 9 yards, and pretty much nice big old clusterfuck cliffhanger. And then Monday Night Raw, because you know, we had to watch Total Divas. Total Divas came on promptly. We couldn't go extra 2 minutes, but, you know, it is what it is. So you got a nice cliffhanger when it's all said and done. Great setup going into NXT. And I would like to believe that more eyes are going to be on NXT this Wednesday, because with what you've seen from SmackDown last week and what you've seen of Raw, you can't help but say to yourself, there is no way in hell that after what NXT did on the past 2 shows, now they've punked out SmackDown and they've punked out Raw. There's no way in hell that there's going to be a NXT that's going to be Raw SmackDown free. No. Now, see, the real thing I'm going to be paying attention to, and I think the timing of this is pretty interesting, especially going into Survivor Series and everything, right? I think one of the things that most people need to be peeping out during this whole thing is how much of a rating success is NXT going to be on Wednesday, since essentially it's going head to head with AEW Dynamite. Now, with the injection of some of your Raw and SmackDown stars coming on to NXT for these couple of weeks, I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to say that with regards to this Wednesday, I'm going to say not by much, but, and I won't put an exact number out there, but what I will say, I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with you guys. Tuesday, which is right around the corner, I will gladly look at the ratings for both shows and see how they've been doing. I know AEW's been whooping NXT, but I'll look at the ratings for both shows. And on Twitter, and maybe I'll post it on Facebook and in the communities tab, I'll let you know what I think the numbers are going to be. I personally feel that NXT's numbers will be up dramatically, but it's not gonna beat AEW. But I feel the numbers will be up dramatically. That much I am pretty confident about. But I think the real story that you need to be peeping out for the next couple of weeks, just to expand upon that thought, is will they be able to maintain that growth in their viewership / ratings? Because if they can, then it's a possibility that after Survivor Series, there may be some type of a workaround. They may be trying to figure something out, for all we know, to see if maybe on a regular basis they can have key guys from Raw and SmackDown. Just switch it up. Like, you never know who's going to pop up there, which could kind of help combat with some of the stars that AEW has and everything. Just a thought. It might not even go down like that, but it's just a thought. It's something that could honestly go down. So we'll have to wait and see how that happens. Brock Lesnar, man of his word, coming out looking for Rey Mysterio. Pretty much opened up Monday Night Raw. Very belligerent. Didn't find Rey Mysterio off the break. He actually was running around backstage for half of the night, beating the crap out of people, pulling a Street Fighter 2, beating the holy shit out of a damn limousine and everything. I was just ready to hear the freaking music playing in the background. You win, perfect. I was just ready to hear the sound effect of that car being fucked up. Oh, you get... yeah, that was my favorite. Messing with that car stage, man. I could never, ever finish the car stage for the love of me. No matter how many times I would play Street Fighter 2, I never... if I did, it was extremely rare, but I don't remember it, so I'm really letting the impression I never freaking totally demolished the car within the 30-second time period. Yeah, so my kind of luck. But anything else I was good at. Anything else Street Fighter, though, I was good at that. But yeah, so Brock Lesnar, he finally did get his hands on Rey Mysterio, but not really. Not really. Can I just say, Paul Heyman tonight, he really brought the damn energy. I really got to give him a lot of props. I mean, he was oozing with the charisma. Some nights you got Paul Heyman out there and you go, okay, he's kind of having a little bit of an off night. He's still Paul Heyman. He's still the man. And not his strongest promo. Man, these past couple of weeks, Paul Heyman has really been bringing that freaking fire, man. Really, I've been loving him, man. But no, eventually, because when we saw Brock Lesnar, that was about 15 minutes when he was first out there. And then by the 45-minute mark, all within the first hour, we see Lesnar resurface, and he's actually talking to Jerry the King Lawler and all that. And I love that line that Paul Heyman had delivered to Jerry Lawler saying, hey, King, you know everything usually. Tell us where Rey Mysterio is. Tell us where Rey Mysterio is. Or this go round, when you have heart failure or something like that, you will die. You will not be revived this time. And the crowd just... ooh, like that was too harsh. That was too hardcore, right? They kind of sounded like, yeah, we didn't need to hear that, brother. Like, really? No, use it. Who, if not Paul Heyman, who else? Who better than to get that out and get it off on all cylinders like that and evoke the emotions that need to be evoked in a guy like Paul Heyman, man. Rey Mysterio pulling a Tonya Harding'd on Brock Lesnar with a steel bat, a metal steel bat, and just taking it to the knees, taking it to the legs. I laughed my ass off. I mean, he was hitting him like a goddamn piñata. I love that. Everything about that. I love that. Later on in the night, Rey Mysterio issuing a challenge. Lesnar, I want you, Survivor Series for the WWE Championship. Lesnar would accept. So we've got that match on. Now, some of you guys maybe remember what we were talking about on the Friday show and me questioning about, how the hell can Lesnar be able to just quit one brand and do what he's able to do without some type of ramifications and all that? Like, what the hell? Now, once in a blue moon, Paul Heyman has interacted on some things that I've said openly, mind you. But usually it'll be like a heart or a retweet or whatever. So, and it's funny because true story, and it actually was him. True story. I remember, I think I've been doing this since 2011. I remember like the first 3 years into my podcasting career. I remember I at Heyman about something. And then shortly after that, I got ready to do a WWE recap show. And this was back when we were doing the phone line. We used to do strictly like a phone line show. And those were, oh my God, we had some of the best times on there because we used to talk to some of the coolest cats that were called into the show and let us know what they thought about Raw, SmackDown, and other little wrestling tidbits and all that. And I remember after saying what I had said to Heyman, Heyman actually had created an account and he popped up in the chat and he was saying hello and shit. And I mean, he must have been in there for like maybe 3 minutes and then he dipped out. And I was like, oh, wow, that is so fucking cool. Like, he actually popped up in the chat and everything. Like, wow, that's cool. So I bring that up. I'm not sucking my own dick, so don't take it that way. I'm bringing that up because certain things I've said on the show over the years, or certain things I've said on social media, all of a sudden, next time I see some of these shows, something's been tweaked in a way where, well, wait a minute, I just addressed that on the show. Now, if you remember the Friday show, I said something along the lines of, all right, so you got this story basically saying, hey, Brock Lesnar don't give a damn about red brand, blue brand. He's going to go where he wants to go. He's quitting SmackDown. He's going to go find Rey Mysterio. So that's where he's going to be Monday night. He's going to be looking for Rey Mysterio. And I had brought up the whole, well, wait a minute. Why can't the way Lesnar is conducting himself, why can't that not be looked upon as a breach of contract by WWE? And they can hit him with litigation and all this other shit. Like, this doesn't make sense. You gotta clean that up a little bit. And I actually at Heyman about that on Twitter. So how was Heyman and the whole Lesnar, hey, him doing what he's able to do, how can he avoid legal ramification and all that? Heyman had addressed it tonight. Now, it may not be satisfactory to some of us, but the way he approached it was Brock Lesnar can do what he can do, but make no mistake about it, a guy like Roman Reigns, a guy like Seth Rollins, they can't do what Brock is able to do, not without consequence. Brock is able to do what he's able to do because he's special. Brock is able to do what he's able to do because he is of a elite breed, if you will. Lesnar is able to do what he is able to do because he has a Jew for his advocate. That was his words on the show, not mine, people. Right? So send the hate mail to his way, but you can't really hate because, hey, okay, he's a Jew. So Lenny Kravitz is a Jew as well. Did you know that? He's a black Jew. So I just thought that was kind of interesting how we were talking about that in depth Friday. We were expanding more on the thought that was put out there briefly on social media, but we expand upon it more on the show. And then you follow it up a couple of days later and you're like, okay, all right, so this is where we are. This is what's going on with Lesnar. This is why he's able to do what he's able to do. And, but you can still kind of go back to that point about the whole, well, so much for that wild card shit, right? Because when it's all said and done, like we just did this draft thing, right? Feel me for a second. We just did this draft thing. Fox, USA, and, we're supposed to be like, these are distinct brands. These shows have their own respected identities. This is it. You're not going to see any more cross-promoting or anything like that. And I just don't know if it was really a smart move to blow the whole load tonight with Lesnar accepting the championship or whatever like that. I wish it would have been some type of a cliffhanger, right? I wish it would have been a scenario where
I wish it would have been a scenario where Rey Mysterio issues the challenge, right? And then maybe through the commentators, we could have heard something along the lines of, well, we don't know if Heyman is going to accept this challenge. We don't even know if he's near a monitor, or TV, because he's already left the arena with his advocate, Paul Heyman. So we're not really sure if he's heard this yet. And then besides, even if Lesnar does want to do this match, we know Ray wants to do it, but you got the USA and the Fox executives. Are they gonna agree to signing off on this match to happen at Survivor Series, right? Now, you could easily counter that, and you could say, well, why should USA and Fox give a damn about this particular matchup? Like, why should they even be invested? Because it doesn't necessarily affect them. But I would counter right back at you, and I would say, no. It has everything to do with them, because it is about the bragging rights and all of that stuff, right? So I kind of wish that from a Fox, storyline wise, from a Fox, USA, WWE perspective, I wish there would have been some type of, the meeting of the minds have to come together to figure out what's the best solution that'll make all parties happy, and then go from there. So, I mean, even though supposedly the wild card rule has been killed, essentially we're still getting the wild card, right? So nothing's really changed. We're wording it differently, we're setting up angles and all that differently, but if you really stop and think about it, we're still getting wild card, right? So it is what it is. But look, Rey Mysterio taking on Brock Lesnar, I'm actually looking forward to the matchup. I sincerely am. I think it's going to be a good matchup. Thinking about the styles of Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose. My God, man, that would be, even to a brief little nod to Kofi Kingston. I do mean brief. I really wish that match would have went at least 10 minutes. We laid out how that match should have went down, but you could have had like a potential classic one right there, but the point is, Mysterio, Lesnar, it should be a good match, because we know what Lesnar is capable of when he's working with these smaller guys. Seth Rollins, right? I mean, we know what he's capable of. So, see, other than that, as far as anything else I want to talk about from Raw tonight, look, man, the Viking Raiders, I don't think it was really a smart move. I mean, riddle me this. They're the Raw Tag Team Champions, and yet we've got them out there taking on some created wrestlers. I don't really understand that whatsoever, right? Seriously, somebody explain that to me. How do you have guys that are crowned tag team champions, and they were just at Crown Jewel, they were involved in this World Cup tournament, tag team tournament, turmoil, whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? And fresh off the heels of that, we've got them taking on jobbers. That doesn't make any sense to me. Could we have at least put them up against the B team, or Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins? I would have totally been fine with that. So for me, why should the fans care that the Viking Raiders had, or the Viking Experience, whatever the hell you want to call them, why should we care that they defeated two created jobbers tonight? For me, that just kind of down their stock a little bit. I didn't really like that whatsoever. The Lana, Lashley, Rusev thing, the next chapter of that, I'm tired of this. It's giving me a headache. I want this to be over and done with. Now you got poor Ricochet being thrown into this whole mix. I don't really want Ricochet anywhere involved in this whatsoever. I don't want him involved in this whatsoever. I'm not sure how far behind you guys are that's checking out the live web stream. I don't know if it's like 2 or 3 minutes behind, but I see you guys are just now commenting on the Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman explanation. That feels like it was maybe 5 minutes ago. I'm not being a dick, by the way, but it feels like maybe that was about 5 minutes ago. I don't know what it is, but YouTube on the back end, there is a delay, and it's a setting that I am not doing anything. I haven't touched anything. There is no setting where, actually, there is a setting where you can say, do you want delay? Mine's is off, so there is no delay. So I apologize to those of you that may be commenting. Sadly, as you're now at this point listening to me, it's been about 5 minutes plus since I talked about the whole Lesnar thing. So, but I do see what you guys are saying in the chat. I do see it. And when I can kind of give you a little nod, I'll give you a little nod. But yeah, you even got poor Ricochet involved in that whole spill now. And honestly, I want Ricochet to... I liked how Ricochet was being booked. Honestly, why not have Ricochet feuding with Andrade or some shit like that, right? I'd be okay with that. Why we gotta put him in this whole Rusev Lashley whole freaking spill? This thing has just... the legs that it continues to get on a weekly basis. We would have thought this shit would have been like, let it die already, right? And I'm hoping that come Survivor Series, it's finally gonna fucking die, because I can't get behind it. I just can't. It's not believable, and I think a large part of it not being believable, two things. One, Rusev. I don't think Rusev sincerely knows what it's like to be dumped. I just don't. You know, for the longest time, he's had his good looks. He's had his long hair at one point and all that, you know. Some women like that type of look. They like those husky Gene Simmons looking type of dudes like Rusev. So I don't really think Rusev knows what it's like to be cheated on and all that other shit, because just from the acting standpoint, he hasn't really been channeling. You feel where I'm coming from? So I think for me, that's been the buzzkill about that whole spill. That's been the buzzkill. But also, I saw inconsistency this week. And let me explain the reason why. So last week, you have Lana say to Rusev that, you're a pig. You want to have sex here, you want to have sex there, da 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 da. You know, you were trying to get me pregnant. You know, all you care about is sex. You know, you want to have a kid with me because you were trying to hold me down and everything, because I'm the hardest piece of ass that you ever came across. Whereas Lashley gives me more. You know, okay, so Lashley, it's more than just sex, right? There is a connection. Okay, cool. Yet this week, and it's not Lana's fault. I know she's going out there and whatever line she's got to deliver, that's what she's got to deliver. But I believe in consistency. If you're gonna have Lana say that with Lashley, it's not sex. It's beyond that. The sex is great, but it's beyond that. There is a spiritual and mental connection. Then you need to be consistent with that. And this week you have Lana out there riding right along with Lashley, as Lashley is saying, I can't face you, Rusev. I injured myself. Yeah, I tore my groin. I tore my groin, not in a match or not in some weird accident. I tore my groin, fucking Lana, right? So, and Lana is just nodding, smiling with approval and everything. And for me, that just was kind of like, okay, we're a little bit inconsistent right there. Whatever, but you know, yeah, Ricochet being involved in that whole spill. I mean, we all could be here all night coming up with all kinds of ideas on what should be happening with key guys on the roster, especially a guy like Ricochet. But I think when it's all said and done, we all can be in agreement as toxic as this Lashley program has been, despite the fact that as far as who's really been benefiting from it the most, I mean, look, all three are getting camera time. Right? So I'm sure they're on cloud nine. Hey, we're getting camera time. We're able to go out there and all right, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Right? But as far as who legitimately seems like they're coming off having the most fun with this angle, despite the fact majority of fans don't like it, Lashley seems like he's really having a lot of fun with it the most. Second place, I got to give it to Lana. Lana actually seems like she's having a lot of fun with it. Rusev just looks like he kind of comes off like he's miserable, like he's just doing a part, like he's not improvising whatsoever. It shows. And when you have one party that sadly, and look, to defend Rusev, it's not all his fault. It's whoever is writing this shit, and during the rehearsals, hey, okay, need you to act more like this, need you to, won't you go watch I don't know, go watch some movies. Go watch IDTV and watch those shows where the women are betrayed and all that by their lovers and get some ideas from them, right? Like, unless they're being coached and they're being guided a little bit, this is going to continue to be a problem. So wishful thinking. We'll see what happens when it comes to the Survivor Series joint. Maybe things are going to wrap up there. Who knows? I doubt it. This feels like it could go on for 2 more pay-per-views. Be prepared, folks. Be prepared. Other than that, there's really nothing else I want to get into from Raw. I mean, unless there's something in particular you guys want me to comment on, that's really it. No Aleister Black, little Quote the Raven, Nevermore, little promos from the cellar, right? No AOP spot this week. Was looking forward to my AOP fix. Nothing from AOP this week. So yeah, it was, I would say Raw in retrospect it was a decent episode. Well, it was all right. I like how they kicked it off. That was good. Middle part had some okay matches. The tag match with the Street Profits in there. Street Profits taking on the, what was it? Weren't they taking on the OC? Yeah, Street Profits, Humberto Carrillo taking on the OC. That was actually good. That got a decent amount of segments too. I think they had like about, God, it felt like they had at least 3 commercial breaks. So that match probably went about maybe 20 something minutes. So that was actually a really good tag match. I gotta give it up for them. Ladies had a good tag match as well. The ladies, Charlotte, Natty taking on the Kabuki Warriors. That actually was pretty good. And chemistry there between Natty and Charlotte seemed to click pretty well. I'm still waiting for the whole why. You girls were like enemies for so long. How and why did this union come together, and can you both really trust each other? And I'm glad we're actually still talking about the women. I almost forgot the Shayna Baszler, Becky Lynch spot. That I enjoyed. I had one bone to pick with that though. First, let me go in with the compliments, and then I'll offer the criticism there. I love the oozing chemistry from Becky Lynch to Shayna Baszler. I love that. I mean, they just clicked very well together. I loved it. Loved it. Big time. And I'm a huge Shayna Baszler fan. But to see it get to that point where, for me, and here's where I'm going a little negative here. Maybe I'm a stickler for detail. It is what it is. But I didn't like the fact that the camera kept cutting. Just cut to Becky, cut the other way, cut. I didn't like that. It felt as though both of them were not in the room at the same time, because I'm like this, if both of them are in the room at the same time, just pan out. That's all you gotta do, just pan out. Let us see Becky Lynch saying what she's saying, and let us, in that same takeaway, see the facial expressions that Shayna Baszler is making. Let us see how she's reacting to every single word Becky is saying. Let us see her facial expressions. I didn't like that back and forth. It felt too produced. They if they could have just let that breathe a little bit more. The saving grace was finally, because at one point they're doing it so much, and sometimes the way Becky was looking on, you almost kind of felt as though, well, is anybody really across from Becky talking to her, right? Because for all we know, maybe it's fucking Gumby that's sitting in a chair, and she's just reacting that way, right? For all we fucking know. But finally, just when it's like, okay, we're doing this way too much with the back and forth, finally they do a pull away where, oh, so they were talking with one another. They were sharing a segment together. Okay, all right, they're in the same space. Okay, cool. Why didn't you just fucking do that the whole time and just backed out? Like, what the hell? But despite that, I love that segment the most. I did, and let me tell you something. I know Triple H said what he said in a recent interview about, they're not going to be so quick to pull talents from NXT and put them on the main roster and everything. Man, I'm telling you what, the way Shayna Baszler has handled herself so far, I think she would shine damn well on that main roster. And of all the matches coming up at Survivor Series, that triple threat, non-title match, mind you, where Bayley is taking on Shayna and Becky, the triple threat match, I'm going to be enjoying that one. Of all the matches, that's definitely one I'm going to be looking forward to the most. Hey, we got some sponsors we need to recognize here, and then we'll dive more into the show. We should have done this a good while ago, but yeah, I want to take the time out and I want to recognize some of our sponsors for tonight, and then later on we'll get into some Patreon shout outs. All right, so first off, I definitely want to give a shout out to let's see, we can load this up here real quick, and we'll have at it here. And let's see, actually, yep, there we go. All right, so shout out to my good friends over at SHEABOO.com. SHEABOO.com for all natural, best skincare products, all made from natural organic oils and shea butter. Truly the best vegan skincare products on earth. Go check them out. SHEABOO.com. Also, shout out to the good folks behind the movie President Evil. Just days before the November midterm elections, 3 young girls are stalked by a deranged killer dressed as the President of the United States. If you enjoy Saturday Night Live, Real Time with Bill Maher, Daily Show, you like all that type of political comedy stuff, go check out this movie President Evil. It's on Amazon. Trailers available on there, movies available on there as well. Happy to have them as a sponsor of the RCWR show. Also, we're brought to you in part by Eloquence.com. Try their easy step-by-step template for calculating key figures and more with their multi-purpose break-even analysis template for your business, and keep better track of your financial stats for your business. We're also brought to you in part by IamCanary.com. You know, life can be so unpredictable. Better to be prepared for any situation than be sorry. Even if you can't do it yourself, I Am Canary can. They have created a product that will help anyone send a crucially important message in case of an emergency or accident in life. Great affordable plans. And they have more than 12,000 registered users since 2018. We got 2 more for you. We're brought to you in part by StreakFreeXL.com. Clean your stove, countertops, mirrors, windows, your car, you name it, all without dealing with those irritating smudges, those streaks. Just nice, good, clean surface, right? Check them out, StreakFreeXL.com. And we're brought to you in part by CBDBioCare360.com. CBDBioCare360.com. Use the code TONY. You spell that TOUNI. That's correct, folks. There's different ways you can spell Tony, and this is one of them. TOUNI. Get 5% off your order if you want the very best and legit CBD products, gummies, capsules, balms, products for your pets, you name it, and more. Head on over to CBDBioCare360.com. Appreciate all of these sponsors for this week's RCWR show. We'll get into some Patreon shout outs later. Let's move on and let's talk about some headlines here. So what an interesting week, because originally it seemed as though maybe things were going to be kind of relatively quiet, but we get hit with a couple of headlines, right? The number one, which was just really, what the fuck? Was the stuff that supposedly went down in Saudi Arabia. WWE did their thing, and okay, now it's time for the boys to hop on their plane and come on home, and we're hearing these weird stories that came about as far as, some of these guys in WWE, they're being held hostage. They're not allowed to leave the country, and what's going on? Is this a diplomatic issue here? Is the president going to have to step in and help out the WWE, help out his good friend Vince McMahon and crew? What the hell is going on here? And you just had dirt sheets after dirt sheets after dirt sheets, vloggers after vloggers, podcasters after podcasters reporting this shit, and they were reporting it in such a way it was fact. And, I'm seeing all of this going down, and the only thing, I can respectfully do is just look at this and say, I'm too old for this shit. I've been around long enough. Yeah, that impulse is tempting to, want to fire something up and comment on it, but I need more information. I'm not interested in looking like an asshole. I'm not interested in that, right? I've gotten to that point now where it's, if I'm going to speak upon something, I want to have a really good feel for everything that's been laid out so far. And I want to at least be able to talk about it in a way where you guys can kind of walk away and make up your own conclusion. I don't want to report on something that is hearsay. I really, really don't. Take, for instance, former WWE color commentator for the Spanish team, Hugo Sanovich, right? Used to be with Wendy Richter and everything, right? So he does this thing, and it's in Spanish. We've got it on our Facebook thing and everything, but I also shared it on Instagram. He, opens up about what he was hearing that was going on with WWE and Saudi Arabia and everything, right? And I gotta give a lot of the people credit for commenting about Hugo. A lot of them were like, well, who the fuck is this dude? Like, seriously, who the fuck is this dude? He hasn't worked for WWE in like almost 10 years. Like, who is he? Why should we care about this guy? That's a very good thing to say. It is. But let me just see, if you're going to say that, you got to say this under the same breath. Well, not for nothing, but the guy worked over 20 years with the WWE. His wrestling career goes decades back. So if there's any individual that you could say, this guy might have a little bit of weight or whatever, right? This guy might have a little bit of weight because of the people that he knows, all those decades he's been involved in the business, and you don't think he has his own respected connections. So, and I kept seeing this misconception that was put out there. Oh, he got fired by the WWE. Well, not for nothing. He actually left the WWE. And I actually remember being on this show, and we were talking about when he left. And I remember saying, wow, that's kind of a bad blow for the Spanish color commentators. Because I actually, I'm not as fluent now. But there used to be a time I would watch the WWE shows for the Spanish commentating. And particularly, I would watch it for Hugo Sanovich, right? So, for me, you're looking at what Hugo is saying and you're going, okay. But then you kind of go, well, what does he have to gain the most from talking about this shit? Well, besides 15 minutes of fame, making his rounds on the media shows and everything, that's really essentially it, right? But you've got Hugo, who claimed that based on the information that was provided to him, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia refused to pay Vince McMahon for 2 Saudi Arabia shows. The exact sum is in the millions. Now, I know some people are saying, oh, well, this person said it was 600 million, or this person said it was, no, let's just leave it at money. Money, all right? Just money, fettuccine, all right? As a result, Vince cut off the live TV feed, and the Crown Prince had threw WWE stars off the plane. All right, this is what Hugo is saying based on his intel. Later on, he claims that Brock Lesnar got out of Saudi Arabia ASAP with the help of Hulk Hogan by boarding Hogan's personal jet while everyone else was stranded in Saudi Arabia. Now, if anybody else wants to translate, if I miss anything else from that video, let me know. But I got the video on the Facebook page there, facebook.com/RCWR show. All right. So you got him saying what he's saying right there, and you're going, wow. Okay. That's some heavy shit. That's real heavy. So what now? But then you've got AJ Styles. And I posed this question on social media earlier tonight, and I did it in the form of a Arsenio Hall gif. And the statement that I put out there, do you trust the wrestler that was actually at ground zero, has always maintained a stand-up attitude, and is a hard-working, loyal employee, always speaking his mind, telling it like it is? Or do you trust a man that's only got hearsay and is on the outside looking in? What does he gain from this, you ask? Attention. Now, AJ Styles, he shed some light. And shout out to him. I know he was pissed because he took to his Mixler channel, his gaming channel. For those of you that don't know what Mixler is, I'm not talking about Mixer. I'm talking about Mixler, which is a gaming channel equivalent to Twitch, basically. And AJ Styles, well, here. We'll actually let you guys check out the video here. We'll all listen along together here. All right, so let's load this up. I already have it ready to go here. All right, so this is what AJ Styles... Where is it here? Where are we at? This is what AJ Styles had to say.
After the show, we got to the airport. They weren't letting us board. What was the problem? Not real sure. I heard there was a fuel truck in the way, and the guy who drove the fuel truck had left to go home. I know. This makes no sense. Why would the fuel guy, why would he leave if he knows he's got a plane that's leaving? Doesn't make much sense. Then there were some paperwork issues. And then finally, after at least 4 or 5 hours, we get on the plane. Then they found something going on with the fuel, something or another. It was broken. Now, people can say what they want. No, it wasn't broken. I don't know. But I talked to the pilot. On that 14-hour flight, the pilot had, I guess they take naps too. And so he came out and we were all chatting, sitting around on this flight, talking, having, anyway. And I said, oh, so what happened? And he said, listen, there was a problem. That's a real thing. I said, okay. So the problem is we spent all that time from 1 o'clock all the way to about either 6 or 8 in the morning, waiting to board this plane, then get on the plane, then telling us we can't go anywhere because the pilots and everybody had timed out. From the pilots to the, from the help, they can only go so long before they're not able to fly because they're not able to go 24 hours at a time, So they had to go back to a hotel. We had to find a hotel. Were there guns? Did they come out and go, all right, everybody off the plane? No, that never happened. My wife called me in a panic, and she's scared to death. I go, babe, listen, we're just not able to go anywhere. It's not a big issue. Nobody is threatening to kill us. There was none of that going on. Nobody was going to get murdered or anything like that. Any of that never happened. There was no threat. We just got to go find a hotel. And I got to tell you, I had the best sleep of my life in this hotel because I hadn't slept because of jet lag. So, Blood Assassin, thanks for the host. Appreciate that. So, I know it sounds worse than it was. It's almost blown up to as if, we were on the verge of being killed. That wasn't the case. Now, I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened with Vince and the Prince or the King or whoever it is who was putting on the show. I have no idea what happened. But that's not my job to say anything. My job is to go to work. My job is to get home. Was I pretty angry about not getting home because I missed my son's wrestling match? You have no idea. You have no idea how angry I was. But if this is out of our hands, if it's out of the pilot's hands, then there's nothing we can do. There's no point in getting mad and getting angry about something I have no control of. So I'm home now, and I'm happy to be here. We'll find out as we go along why things happen. They will, or we won't. I don't know what's going to happen going forward. It's just going to be what it's going to be. And I'll deal with it when I need to. But I'm not going to throw my WWE under the bus either. That's not how I work. I'm a guy who is committed to making the best product that I can, and it's not going to do me any good to throw good people under the bus. There are a lot of good people that work for WWE, and I will not make them look bad. There were a lot of people that were on that plane with me. So until I know more, I'm not going to say any more. I'm not going to say anything negative. That's not who I am as a person. And if I did find out and I was offended, I will go to the source. Believe me on that one. So can we just get past this whole Saudi Arabia thing? And
So that's AJ Styles right there for you. Okay, now I mean I gotta pose that question to you guys. You know, who you gonna believe right here? Are you gonna believe the guy that was actually there, that was actually on the plane and everything? You know, giving you detailed accounts hour by hour on everything that was going on, or are you gonna take to the bank and try to cash it a guy that has been years removed from the company, that is relying on hearsay, right? He says he has his sources, and I'm not taking a shit on his sources, right? But he's having hearsay, right? And I'm not saying you got to name your sources, but okay, so let's say we're still not convinced. Let's say that there is still some type of a weird conspiracy thing that's going on with WWE and in Saudi Arabia, that there's something that they're trying to clean up or whatever. They're trying to sweep something under the rug. It's a conspiracy, man. Okay, well, just to kind of add on top of everything, WWE and the Saudi General Entertainment Authority expanded their event partnership. They put out a press release earlier today saying that they've expanded their live event partnership through 2027. Remember, this is a deal that was only supposed to be going down for 10 years. But no. They've gone on ahead and they've extended it through 2027 to include a second annual large-scale event. WWE and SHEA, which is the Saudi General Entertainment Authority, also continue to work towards the completion of a media agreement in the MENA region. This long-term partnership demonstrates WWE and SHEA's commitment to bring sports entertainment to the region and support Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030. Okay, so this talk about millions of dollars and Vince being screwed and oh man, what the hell is going on here with the WWE talent? We're on the plane. They were kicked off the plane. They're being held hostage. They can't go home. What's going on here? Conspiracy, man. Is just. Can I be real with you guys for a second? Let me be real with you guys for a second. I'm proud to say that no matter how taboo it's been with WWE doing these shows in Saudi Arabia, depending on who you talk to, there's a lot of people that have raw feelings about WWE doing what they're doing in Saudi Arabia. Okay? I've seen the comments. I've interacted with some of the people. I get where they're coming from. I really do. So it's a very delicate topic, right? You got people that are hardcore pro wrestling fans through and through, supporters of WWE, but when it's come particularly to the Saudi shows, these fans are like, no, I'm not watching. Those are the one shows I will not watch, because everything that's going on in Saudi Arabia, I refuse to watch them. Go check out one of the last polls that we put out. We asked folks, what did they think about Crown Jewel? And when you look on the communities tab on YouTube, you see the top dog. You've got the majority of fans saying, I refuse to watch WWE Saudi Arabia shows. Okay? can I just tell you from covering these Saudi Arabia shows what it feels like to me from a distance? And I could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first, wouldn't be the last, but unlike the websites, unlike the podcasters that's out there, if I make a mistake, I will own it. I will voluntarily man up to it. I made a mistake, right? But I've tried to get to that point now where, I'm almost at that point now where I just want to be as neutral as possible and I want to be right. But 2 cents from a distance, just impression, what it feels like to me. When I look at guys like John Oliver in his HBO show, and he's saying what he's saying about WWE and Saudi Arabia and all that other shit. And then I hear about certain people that don't like that WWE are doing this thing that they're doing in Saudi Arabia. Never mind that just as a whole, it's good for pro wrestling because, as we mentioned on the Crown Jewels show, it opens the door for other wrestling promotions to be able to come in there. Hey, we got a new territory we can tap into. Hey, man, one day, AAA. Hey, man, one day, hey, all right, so WWE's doing the thing with the women's matches. All right, so this promotion and this promotion, we're going to be able to go in there. We're going to be able to do the same thing. WWE, what they're doing right now, they're laying down the foundation for future promotions, right? Or a much bigger global scale, basically, right? So, considering that, it feels to me like maybe there are dark forces at play that do not like the fact that WWE has this partnership with Saudi Arabia. And to me, it feels as though there is some type of a dark agenda going on where, well, let's try to see if we can sabotage this. Let's see if we could maybe put some bad press out there. Let's see if maybe we can kind of get the ball rolling and kind of have shit implode from within and everything, right? That's how it comes off to me. Now, I ask you, realistically, folks, let's have real world talk right here. You come to me and you say, Lee, I need to borrow $1,000. I say to you, $1,000, that's a lot of money. What do you need $1,000 for? It's a down payment on a car. Okay, and what do you hope to do with this car? Well, with this car, man, I'm going to be able to drop my kids off at school. I'll be able to pick them up. But most importantly, I'll be able to find better job leads. Ultimately, I'll be able to find myself another job. A good paying job at that. Okay. And when do you think you'll have my money back? Oh, it won't take that long. About 3 months at most. Okay. All right. $1,000. You got it. Oh, man. Thank you, man. Great pal. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. The months go by, right? It's time for me to get my money back. You're giving me the whole runaround. I give it to you. Okay, you're giving me the runaround about my money, right? Now, that's $1,000. Some people, they'll trip over $20, right? Well, it's $1,000, okay? Yeah, what are the odds that I'm going to, after you've been running around, dodging me, not giving me my money back, as agreed upon in the time frame, what are the odds that I'm going to get pretty upset and right down to the point that I decide I'm not going to do business with you anymore? Like, fuck this. I'm done with you on all levels. That's it. You know, I would be a fool to do business with you again. If you've burned me already, what are the odds that, you're going to burn me again? So why should I do business with you again? This is where you kind of have to use common sense here and process of elimination. If there was some type of money discrepancy between Vince McMahon and Saudi Arabia, then why would this deal happen? Like I ask you, why would this deal even happen? When I first heard this story, one of the first things I was looking for, quietly mind you, was, well, unless WWE puts out some type of a statement and say something along the lines of, we've terminated our partnership with Saudi Arabia, then for me, that would be the only way that what Hugo was saying would even have legs to stand on. And it was so funny because I was talking to my girl about this, and I tell you, sometimes she's got some really great insight. She's actually flown planes a lot. And one of the first questions I asked her, I said, have you ever experienced something like that before, where a flight you were supposed to, because not everybody flies, right? I've yet to fly. I have yet to fly. I will sadly have to fly next year for my wedding. I'm not looking forward to that. I'm going to need like some melatonin. I might try to see if I can get a hold of a temporary prescription for Xanax, because I know how I'm going to be. My nerves are going to be through the fucking roof. But I asked her, I said, have you ever heard of a scenario where the plane that you are supposed to board, like your plane, you and all the other passengers, you're on the itinerary, y'all are supposed to be on this plane. It's supposed to be leaving at this time, and you all are grounded for X amount of hours because of some whatever mechanical problem or something like that. Like, have you ever heard of something like that happening? And she said to me, well, normally, and right down to the point, like, you forget, like, how do you forget that these people on this plane, going back to kind of what AJ said and everything, like, how do you forget, like, these people are supposed to be on this plane, and this plane is supposed to be leaving at a certain time, like, and she said to me, no, I've never heard of anything like that before. Like, in all my years of traveling on the plane, no, it's ready to go. If anything, we may have a delay because of inclement weather, and at that point, we're just grounded. We're not going anywhere until that weather has pretty much cleared up, and then we're able to go. I'm like, okay, all right, so something doesn't sound right here. She said, yeah, something doesn't sound right. It's like, honestly, I'll take what AJ said. I don't really know this Hugo guy, nothing personal, but AJ was right there at ground zero. He could give you an hour by hour account. Yeah, I'm going to trust AJ. And that's the thing. AJ, I've been following the career of AJ Styles for a couple of decades now. Right down to the point, I even got the 2 different shoot interviews he did post Impact Wrestling. This is a guy, when even he had the opportunity to bury the hell out of Impact Wrestling, he didn't do it. If there was one negative thing AJ had to say about Impact Wrestling or TNA, it was, oh yeah, the offer that they tried to give me, it was very laughable. It was, in his own words, he said, it was an insult for everything that I have done for that company all through the years. The counter offer that they gave me, it was an insult. And I felt that I had no choice but to leave. So you're kind of going, wow. So if it wasn't for them doing the counter offer that they did, there's no telling how much longer he would have stayed in Impact Wrestling and everything. AJ sincerely comes off to me as an individual who, if you've crossed him, you've heard his bottom dollar. He's going to do things the right way, but the first opportunity he is able to leave and leave correctly, he's going to take that opportunity. And then once he's free, he's going to say XYZ and everything, right? He comes off very outspoken. Even when he has had some type of criticism, he has done it in a way that is most proactive and that is not of the bearing type. So kind of keeping that in mind, looking at what all he had said, the only issue I kind of have is, how do you have a lapse in communication like that, right? And the report about Vince McMahon supposedly leaving way before the rest of these guys had even, that of all the things that I heard, that really kind of stood out to me the most, because it's, wait a minute, do we know this for a fact? Because this is like something that's totally new. Do we know this for a fact that Vince McMahon left the other cats to go back to the States? Because that doesn't seem like his MO. I can remember all those times where you got the tribute to the troops and Vince is always there with his roster. He's there going and coming. And the past few times they've done the Saudi events, Vince has been there. So, going and coming. So, for Vince to just, if it's true that he left before the talent and not seeing too that, okay, I'm good, the talent's good, okay, we're all leaving, that's not a good move. I personally feel that's not a very good and smart move, right? Because you would like to believe that had Vince been there, surely it would not have taken X amount of hours that it had took for those men and women to finally be not grounded and they're going back home. You would like to believe that if Vince McMahon was there, he would have done everything in his power to try to have all of his guys and girls on the next plane out, even if it meant he had to figure out another airline to go through or something like that, right? Hearing about folks that were either in a position where they waited on the plane or tried to go get a hotel room for the duration of this delay, and all of that just sounds poorly mismanaged. Sounds to me like there's a serious communication issue, but that's really it. So I mean, if Vince really did do that, then it kind of sucks. I mean, it's a learning experience, right? But hey, not for nothing, just to kind of give Vince McMahon an out. Hey, he did have to have his hand in producing SmackDown less than 24 hours after Crown Jewel, right? Still, it doesn't justify what went down, no matter what. It doesn't. So, for me, my 2 cents from a distance, and the way I would just give it to all of you guys, this is another example of what happens when you fall for the trap, right? You fall for the clickbait, you fall for, the sources. And now look, I'm not saying Hugo Sanovich is a liar. I'm not saying that. He very well could have heard what he heard from a source, and it was basically heard it from a friend who, heard it from a friend who, heard it from a friend who. I'll give you a perfect example. And I'm not throwing my source under the bus here. But I remember when the stuff had went down with Big Cass and Enzo. The first go round at that ROH joint, and they invaded it and everything. I had a very reliable source. And this person was a very reliable source because over the years, they would tell me certain things. And turns out, okay, this is accurate. But I wouldn't report on it. If anything, I would say something along the lines of, hey, there's more to this that meets the eye. Just telling you guys, and I was sworn to secrecy. You can't say anything. So I inquired about this because this source of mine, direct source of mine, had a friend that worked for ROH. And so somehow the topic gets brought up about what's going on with Enzo Big Cass. Like, is this a shoot? Like, what the fuck's going on here? And I was told, oh, yeah, what they did, no, that was not part of the story. That was a straight up shoot. That was them being assholes and everything. It's like, how valid is this info? Like, can I, and I asked my source straight up. I said, can I take this to the bank? Can I cash it? I always say that to my source. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, my friend in ROH, he works there, man. I'm telling you, because he's connected. Yeah, man, what went down with Enzo and them? Nah, man, that wasn't part of the show. Okay. Now, I remember I came on the show. I laid it out. And then when you know it, something had went down, I think, on the next batch of ROH tapings or whatever. And, oh, so what happened to shoot? What happened to not part of the show? What and it was, And I had learned a very valuable lesson that day, which was question everything you see and hear, right? So when I say that Hugo I'm not saying, for the record, I'm not saying Hugo's a liar. But what I am saying is question the sources, right? Just how I thought I could take what I could take, right? And this is, not for nothing, but my source been involved in the business for a couple of decades. And the source he had in ROH, this person that works in ROH, well, it's got to be good, right? Source in ROH is saying, nah, man, it's legit. Okay, I'm going to run with it, right? So always question everything that you see and hear. That's why I always tell you guys, take everything that you see and hear with a grain of salt. That's just how you got to roll. Now, switching gears a little bit, I see ROH has made headlines, and it is in the most what the fuck way possible. Joey Mercury, I'm sure you guys remember him. Remember him from Eminem, Mercury, Morrison, Melina and everything over in WWE. Remember he was a backstage executive type of cat in WWE for a hot cup of coffee. And he's been in ROH. I think he's been in ROH since 2017. Well, no longer. He had a diatribe of about ROH. And I mean, if you did not take the time to read it all, it is very insightful. I mean, this guy has saved emails. He has saved email, not on top of email exchanges. He's got text messages, the whole 9 yards. There was one particular ROH executive that he threw under the bus, and you just couldn't help but feel bad for that dude that he threw under the bus, because you're like, damn. Even had revealed some information about Kelly Klein, and I love Kelly Klein. Kelly Klein, as far as her salary goes and everything, and I'm telling you, if we were to go over every single thing that Joey Mercury had put out, we would be here for like 45 minutes. I'm not interested in, I want to just, the whole paraphrasing. That's honestly what I want to do. But the executive that he went after Ring of Honor's general manager, Greg Gilliland, for his treatment of talents, fans, and how the company has handled live events. Now, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a sampler for some of the things that he talked about, in case you're hearing this for the very first time. Unsafe environment for talent in and out of the ring. No security, no medical staff, no women on creative. Worst looking wrestling on or off TV. Ouch. No job description. Nothing in terms of anything I've suggested. Total breach on your end and everyone involved. That bullshit. Non-punctuation. Using grammatical pig fuck of a contract. These are his words. And he had revealed that Shane Taylor will not be resigning come January 1st, but Taylor and his family have been informed, have not been informed on the decision. He also stated via being hypothetical that the contracts of Taylor and Bandito expire on January 1st, while PJ Black's expires on February 1st. And then regarding the Women of Honor brand, Mercury had called out Jillian for not implementing a proper concussion protocol, citing Kelly Klein as an example after allowing her to travel to South America following a brain injury. Now, some of you may say, man, dude, keep my name up out your mouth. If you're going to go after people, that's cool, but keep my name up out your mouth, please, right? But Kelly Klein actually had endorsed this publicly on social media, recalling everything that Mercury had said, backing him up, taking his side about this whole thing. When what she had said on the matter, I love Ring of Honor, and I want someone guiding the company who will work for the best interests of the product and protest the talent who work hard to make it happen. That's what she said. We had someone who wanted to do that and tried to do that and eventually gave up on trying to do that when it became clear that he didn't have the support he needed to make those positive changes. I love Ring of Honor and I want to make it better. I want us to be allowed to make it better. And now, with her permission, he actually had revealed the email exchanges between Klein and Jillian, revealing that, check this out. This is really where it's, what the fuck? And this is just, in 2019's practices for pro wrestling companies, this is just, wow. She was making, get this, under $24,000 a year for Ring of Honor. This was her 2019 contract with Ring of Honor Wrestling. She had a salary under $24,000 a year. So really stop and think about that. So she was probably making, if she was lucky, $11 an hour. Right? So that is literally, hope you got a day job, right? Because, you know, Ring of Honor, you can only do but so much, right? You hope you're, and now that's the one thing that I did notice about her contract, which was really, really weird in the email exchanges that Klein and Jillian had and everything. Jillian had needed clarification on some areas, language of the contract. One of those areas she couldn't quite figure out. Hey, this part about, now I'm paraphrasing, this part about, hey, after I'm done with the company, I've been away for a certain period of time, well, you know, what is this about? I won't be getting any more royalties, right? And basically they were saying, oh, well, yeah, with regards to after you leave our company, any money that continues to be generated off of your merchandise with your name, likeliness, and all that, yeah, you won't be getting any of that money because we're basically liquidating it. You know, we're trying to sell the remaining stuff of yours that we have in stock. That's all we're basically doing. But yeah, like X amount of days after you're done with the company, you're no longer getting any of those royalties. Wait, what? Right, stupid, crazy, right? That sounds really, really freaking crazy. But yeah, so you have that. And that's just a couple of examples. Like here it is right here. Here it is right here. And here was this guy, how he rebutted and everything, right? Section 8, the company has the ability to terminate the contract at any time with 30 days notice. However, I did not see any termination rights for me. I would also like the right to terminate the contract with sufficient 30 days notice, right? In section 9B, release and grant of rights, there is mention of some royalties that only appear to be applicable during the term of the contract. If the company retains rights to my likeliness and rights to sell any products using my name and likeliness, I would like it to be clear that any and all of the royalties would be paid even after the end of the contract. Finally, Section 19, waiver and release of liability, release the company of any responsibility, including in instances of negligence. I understand and acknowledge the inherent risk of performing in the manner of professional wrestlers. However, I'm not comfortable waiver of liability in instances of negligence. Please let me know when you have time to clarify these items. I am happy to schedule a phone call or meeting before or after my workday, or during a break if time allows. Thank you for your time and for all your help with this. This was Kelly, responding to Jillian and everything. Now, I'm sorry, but some heavy shit like that, fuck a phone call. I need you to come in and, we need to sit down, and because I want you to look at my face as I'm explaining everything to you, because I want you to see the seriousness, the tone. I want you to really know without a shadow of doubt, I'm not trying to run a game on you, right? So fuck a phone call when it comes to this type of language. But no, so he comes right back via email. Hi, Kelly. While we have the NDA language, unfortunately, it seems that everyone knows everyone's deal regardless. I'm not suggesting that you would divulge it at all. It's just an assumption that I have to make. However, it is more so a fairness internally, aligning the completions for the division as it continues to grow. If things take off or change for the better, we can renegotiate at any time. All right, so she's talking about wanting a little bit more money, right? There's nothing wrong with that. From the stuff that I've been seeing of her over the past several months, yeah, homegirl deserves more than fucking $24,000 a year. Come on now. In Section 8, this is protection that we reserve in all deals, and one that legal has resisted change to over the year. It is one that we have not used to date, would never use just because it's self-governing, in that we were to exploit or abuse this language, then our deals would mean nothing and talent would not want to work here. If we gave a mutual right, then the contract is essentially a month-to-month contract. Is that what you want? 9B, royalties are paid. This is what I was talking about earlier. Royalties are paid after your contract expires at 10%, even though the contract rate expires, and we reserve the right to continue selling compilations and t-shirts with your likeliness. What? With that said, we wouldn't produce new apparel after you left anyway. It would simply be liquidating old stock. We can add a sell-off period or enter into a separate merchandising agreement at the end of any expiring talent agreement if you wish to do so. Yeah, I'll tell you how we'll counter that shit right now. ProWrestlingTees.com, bitches. How about that? Section 19 will involve an internal review by our legal team. This is our standard liability language and would involve an extension risk analysis and management decision to change. I can raise the case. And so in addition to this, in case you guys don't know, Kelly Klein's husband, BJ Whitmer, who gave a letter of resignation to ROH last December, and he's currently working with AEW and everything as a coach. He wrote on Twitter, from someone that actually worked in that office with Greg Gillian, everything Joey is saying is 100% true. Now, you had Jim Cornette. He jumped on this. You know, hey, nice to see that I'm not the only one that felt the way that I felt. And I saw Austin Aries got in on this. Austin Aries' whole thing was, all right, man, I get you're pissed, but damn, you know, why you gotta speak about all this, you know, out in the open? Why can't you, you know, kind of take care of your shit internally and everything? And unfortunately, Cornette, Aries, they get into that little spat. Y'all know the history there with Aries and Cornette, so we don't really need to go into all that. Just look up the history online if you need to get caught up to speed on that. Right? So, I mean, just stop and, like, when you hear that, I mean, look, I got a lot of respect for the talent that's there on ROH. I know we don't really get a chance to talk about ROH that much, and that's why I try to do it more when we cover the NXT, AEW shows, since we're kind of going a little bit out of the realm. That's why I usually like to talk about them, Impact Wrestling and all that on there. I gotta tell you though, man, as there are some really good cats there on ROH that I really, really love. Kelly Klein is definitely one of those people. PCO is another. I love Villain Enterprises and all that. Love what they're doing over there. Marty Scurll, love that shit. Love all of that shit. There's some really good cats that's over there that I want to see go on and do bigger and better things. And sometimes it could be a little bit hard watching ROH. It can. It can be a little disheartening too when you watch some of these live events and the attendance is piss poor. I mean, piss poor, right? And you could tell me, oh, well, ROH, they got this deal going on. They got this broadcast deal. They got this going on. That's all fine and dandy. But internally, from a managerial standpoint, what's going on? How is the morale talent overall as a result of what's happening with the execs? You know, with management, how is all that playing about? And I got to be consistent here, because I think it was last week I was on this show and I had said, man, you know, if you got issues with your employer and everything, try to keep that shit internal. Try to, you know, work it out. And once you've exhausted everything, then it is what it is. And if the end result is you needing to vent off and you got to leave some reviews on Yelp, Google Plus, you know, whatever, man, you got to go on whatever site, Glassdoor, you got to say a little something about your employer, then so be it. You know, it is what it is, you know, especially if the only thing you have to gain from that is just trying to help out other people that may be considering working there. Okay, you know, you're going to get out what you need to get out, and then, all right, you're done with it. You're pretty much one and done, right? So, Yeah, I'm a little bit on the fence. I really, really am. I mean, just seeing all that stuff. I actually read everything that Joey Mercury had put out there on a lunch break because it was like that much content. I'm like, wow. My biggest takeaway was this was a man that truly cared. This was a man that felt as though he was coming in, saw some problems, thought he was really going to be able to make a difference. He gave a damn. And that is a trait that I gravitate towards in people. That is a good quality, a good strong quality that I look for in people as far as how far will you go to help your fellow man and woman. It's a very, very good strong trait. You can tell a lot about a person's character based on how far they go for their friends and family. And for him to give a damn like that, I got to commend him. You know, there are those of us, man, I wish I had a friend, you know, I just need one friend that's like that, right? Some of us have work jobs where, damn, it seems like we're the only ones that give a fuck about what we're doing. And everybody else is kind of just chilling, right? But we're the ones busting our ass and we give a damn, right? And once in a blue moon, you're able to come across that one, maybe two people that give a damn just like you, and you form a tight bond as a result of that. So, you know, for me, I don't like it. I don't like the fact that, you know, Joey put all that out there. But at the same time, I think it really needed to be put out there. I think it really needed to be put out there because I think those that are interested in honing their craft in pro wrestling even more, and they want to eventually make it to AEW, they want to eventually make it to the WWE, or they want to eventually make it to New Japan, and they're looking at ROH as, hey, that looks like, you know, other than OVW, hey, that looks like it'd be a great pit stop for me to hone my craft, right? Well, that'd be kind of fucked up if you go into a situation like what Joey Mercury laid out, and man, this is what all is here for me. Like, what the fuck? I got to deal with this? What the hell did I get myself into, right? People were taking shots at Impact Wrestling and everything. I mean, between the two devils, shit, I'd rather go with Impact. Seriously, man, seriously. You know, but yeah, you know, I wish it would have been a internal thing. I really, really do. But I'm like this. If you're going to do something like this, I tell you what, you got to commend the fuck out of Mercury for documenting every single thing. And that's why I got to stay consistent, because what did I tell you guys on the show last week? Whenever you have any type of a business transaction with somebody, text message and or email, save your shit, because you never know. Screenshots, all that, because you never know when you're going to need to fall back on something like that to maybe defend yourself, right? Or point out something that, oh man, it's pretty messed up how, you know, these people had conducted themselves or whatever, you know. Like, I'll give you a good story. I think we talked about this on the show last week, right? Just to kind of revisit it one more time. There was a coworker that came last week that came into work, and he saw a really nice office chair, right? And he was like, hey Lee. I'm like, yeah, what's up? Is this your bag? I'm like, yeah, that's my bag. What's up? You think you could do me a favor? You think you can move the bag? I want to test out that chair. And I said, that chair has already been assigned to somebody. You know, somebody just got hired. Like, that's their workstation now. And he threw a hissy fit. He was bitching and all that other shit. And one of my coworkers, she was like, and she caved in. She was like, here, boy, just take the chair. And I told her, I said, no. I was like, we're not doing it like this morning. I was like, that chair's already been assigned. Like, that's not fair to the person that's working here now. Like, no. And I told him, I said, look, man, you know, you can't just be going around just taking shit when it's already been assigned. You know, it's like, I get you're upset, but it doesn't give you a right to think you can just go and do that. And he actually tried to pull rank. He was like, I've been working up here for I don't know how many years, he said. But I looked at him and I raised my voice. I said, don't even try to go there with the whole rank system. Don't even try to go there as far as seniority. I said, because 95% of this office has more seniority than you. Like, so don't even go there. It's like, if you got a problem, and I, you know, mentioned my supervisor, our supervisor's name. I was like, go talk to her. You know, go talk to her, let her know your concerns and everything, and see if you can get some results done. Like, hey, you know, I'm in the same boat you're in. It's like my chair is a little bit messed up in some areas. It's quite comfortable. My chair, I don't know why, but my chair eventually just exploded and I've got cotton exposed. Maybe because I keep putting my foot under my leg when I'm sitting there. I don't know. Maybe that's it. I don't know. So you would have thought that would have been the end of the story. Stay with me here, because it all connects. You would have thought that would have been the end of the story. Maybe he would talk to the boss, get some shit done. No, you know what this guy does? The ultimate sign of disrespect, rather than go to our superior, he goes to the vice president and one other person, and was in an email, mind you, and was complaining about the chair situation. And so I go into work today and we have the first hour, off and on, but it added up to an hour, about chairs. What chair is damaged? What's going on with this chair? What color chair is that? That color chair shouldn't be here. That color chair's got to go down. And we all were like, if we hear one more goddamn thing about chair, we're gonna, you know, we were like, no more word chair for the rest of the fucking week, right? And word spread real quick about his email. And we looked at him as, we were all saying this to each other internally. And we all basically were saying, what a punk ass bitch. What a punk ass bitch. Because here was a guy that really was upset because he wasn't getting his way. And he, hey, you see why I get hard sometimes on this up and coming young generation. It's not everybody. I do know that. There's a lot of good young folks that's out there. I'm friends with some good young people. And, you know, my brothers and sisters, y'all doing it right. And when I say brothers and sisters, I'm talking about everybody. It don't matter if you're black, white, Hispanic, y'all my brothers and sisters. You know, but you got a lot of bad hombres out there that have this whole self-entitlement type of bullshit like this guy did. And oh yeah, we lost a lot of respect for this dude. We lost mad respect for this dude. And so you got to be careful when you go about speaking to management. You do. What I take away from Joey Mercury, you know, you could just look at this and you could just, damn, did Joey snap? But when you really go back and you educate yourself on everything that he's put out there, everything that has been documented all the way up to the point where he just exploded, you just go, well, look, you can't say this is coming from someone that is in a hurtful place. What you can say is this is coming from somebody that documented as much as humanly possible all of the issues that they were seeing with this promotion, crossing all their X's and O's, so that ultimately, if they got somehow caught up in the crosshairs, they would easily be able to say, no, I had nothing to do with that, and here's the proof, right? So that's how I'm kind of looking at it, the way that Joey Ryan had approached it. And he's got my respect for that. He's mad respect for that. You know, but look, you would hope that with him putting out the statement that he had put out, that maybe it will provoke change. But I mean, come on, man. Any ROH fan will tell you, the way Sinclair Broadcast just operates, it's just, well, we got this thing over here. We got this wrestling thing. And, yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, we're good. Mediocre is, we're good with that, right? So, I don't really know how much good that's going to do internally. I don't know if that's going to shake some shit up. 2 cents from a distance, I don't think it's going to do anything. It's going to get people talking. What will ROH do, though? Nothing. And the greatest testament of that, as far as they're not going to do anything, if they really meant well and everything like that, they had a great opportunity to really bring the hammer down when that shit went down with Bully Ray a couple of months back. And he went at that fan at the way he went at him and everything. You want to send the right type of message, that would have been the way, right? So just looking at incidents like that, a few other things. I mean, yeah, this is going to be the buzz of the week. I wouldn't be surprised if other shows were talking about this and everything. I wouldn't be surprised if editorials were done. But when it's all said and done, okay, going past that week. Internally for ROH, what's really going to be done? Not a damn thing. It's going to be business as usual. They're going to try to take up a arena that, normally, it can house 12,000 people. How many people did you have in mind? Oh, we want to get 3,000. Yeah, we only want to house 3,000 people. Oh, okay, so you're going to tarp off a lot of areas, huh? Yeah, but it's going to look good on the TV. Okay, great. You said 3,000? Yeah, 3,000. And then comes time for the ROH show and everything. All right, so how many people are here in attendance? 750. What? Yeah, I mean, that's a ROH show. That is a ROH show. Good talent, good matches, decent storytelling, crappy fucking management. And you just kind of wonder, like, of all the promotions, how much longer are those guys going to be sticking around? Glenn Hunt in the chat. AEW joined Raw and SmackDown Friday night going to NXT. I don't know how long you were watching the stream, but man, we talked about NXT and all that. We talked about that pretty much, after the first 10 minutes of the show. We talked about that. Rewind when you get a chance, my friend. Rewind when you get a chance. A couple other headlines I want to get into before we get ready to wrap it up. I do want to get into some Patreon shout outs as well, because I love our Patreons. Patreon.com/RCWR show. You get access to bonus audio, video content you won't be able to find anywhere else. Make sure you check that out. Good shit. Good shit. Also, we were talking about Jim Cornette earlier. NWA, they had released a statement this past Friday saying they don't endorse Jim Cornette making light of suicide, but his comments will not stop him from appearing on their show at this time. Yeah. So Vice President David Lagana of NWA, he had this to say. Over the last few days, the situation was brought to our attention in regards to comments made by Jim Cornette that have been taken as making light on the subject of suicide. We've addressed the situation internally with Mr. Cornette and made it clear that any comments in regards to this subject, joking or serious, are not endorsed by Lighting One and the National Wrestling Alliance. Mr. Cornette understands the seriousness of this situation, and with that, he will remain the color commentator for NWA Power. So all of this pretty much connects to former Progress announcer Jim Smallman saying he should be hung over the wrong way he dressed at a event. And yeah, that's pretty much where all of that had basically stemmed from and everything. And man, look, I got a lot of respect for Jim Cornette. I do. I love him tremendously. He has I've always appreciated his mind for the business. I've always appreciated through and through, him trying to keep the old ways, the territory days alive, right? I always appreciate him going down memory lane and making the arguments about, hey, remember that time period in wrestling when the boys used to protect the business and everything. And, which reminds me, if you all still haven't I'm not being endorsed by it, but if you haven't picked up that graphic novel of his, Real Stories in Pro Wrestling, or I think that's the name of the book. It's a long ass title. You know, when you see, we actually reviewed it. It's on YouTube. You can look it up. Smarten up. I mean, it's a really great read. It's a really, really great read. I must have read that thing like 3 times or whatever, but you know, I love Jim Cornette. I got a lot of respect for the man. And man, when he talks politics, as an independent, there are some things I'm hearing that comes out of his mouth, and I'm just, what the fuck, dude? And then there's other things where it's just, okay, I want to have a drink with you, you know, whether you drink alcohol or not, I don't care. We can drink a soda, like, but I want to pick your brain more on why you think this is so, right? I would love to just pick his brain for a whole day on just various topics, politics being one of them. You know, and I know that the way he does social media, he is the king of social media. There used to be a time period where I thought that Jim Cornette was just, man, what the hell is he doing? He fucking knows how to play social media. He is the king of that. Whatever emotion he is trying to bring out of you, he knows how to do it. And the number one thing I've always said that's a big problem with our society is whenever we read a text message, any text, whether it's on our phone, forum, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we allow ourselves the first emotion that comes to mind as soon as we're reading it. As we're reading it, we allow that first emotion to pop up. And that's bad, because a lot of times that's how we can get ourselves caught up. And with Jim Cornette and social media, you know, if you're not really that familiar with him and everything, sometimes it can be hard. Even if you're a veteran, you've been following his work, sometimes it can be kind of, okay, where's Jim really coming from here? Like, is he being a dick? He's trolling here? He's having some fun? Or is he being serious? Right? And, you know, look, I like a lot of the things that he says. Lately, there's been some things he's been saying that's been, you know, a bit, this shit with suicide. I'm not really gonna go there. I'm not gonna say that on social media. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna say it, period, because there are a lot of fragile minds that's out there now more than ever with social media. And for a lot of people look towards social media as therapy. They look at it as very mentally stimulating, right down to the point, if they are having problems, whatever problems that they're having, you know, be it work, relationship, you know, you name it, to be able to go on social media and forget about those problems, you know, it's a sense of relief. And then to be surrounded on social media with problems, you know, maybe you put a statement out there and you've got people that are egging you on, fuck you, go kill yourself or some shit like that. You know, there are a lot, sadly, and that's the dark truth about the web, there are a lot of people that are mentally fragile. And so you kind of got to be careful, right? I'm not saying you can't speak your mind. I'm just saying that rather than say, go fucking jump off a cliff with a noose around your fucking neck, you fucking dickwad. Like, rather than say that, go fuck yourself and your mother, right? I mean, there's ways you can go around. That's really the point that I'm making. I don't mean to use such colorful language, but that's really the heart of the matter. You know, there's just one thing I wish he could kind of take away. And look, he's been walking on God's green earth for how many years? I mean, he's in his 60s now, right? Late 50s, early 60s. So, like, he ain't gonna change no time soon. He's just not, right? Many times his mouth has gotten him into trouble, and that's the thing with Jim Cornette, and he'll tell you that any day of the week. He's not going to be sorry for what he puts out there. You know, he's going to keep telling the truth through and through and everything, right? But that's Jim Cornette for you. That's really, what else more can I say? That's Jim Cornette for you, man. Oh God, what else can we get into before we get ready to wrap it up here? Impact Wrestling, they're doing something really, really cool. I saw this and I was like, wow, that's really cool. So Impact Wrestling, they announced that this week with the upcoming TV tapings on November 7th and 8th in New York City, I wish I was able to go to this. I really do, but I'm preparing for other shit. 100% of ticket proceeds from those New York City shows, they're going to be going towards OBD. In case some of you had missed it, ODB's food truck business had got burned down earlier this year. And there was a limited time where Mick Foley, he stepped up. He was one of the first cats to step up, and he did something really badass. And he had like his limited, I think it was his limited Cactus Jack t-shirts. You know, from time to time, he'll bust those out on the Pro Wrestling Tee store and everything. And he was like, okay, yeah, for a limited time, 100% proceeds, you know, we generate, it's going to go towards getting her a new food truck and everything. So Impact Wrestling coming in there. And additionally, there is a Indiegogo campaign to help raise money for her food truck as well, get it back up and running. For those of you that may be a little bit curious about where is she right now as far as that money goes, and you can go on it right now. Right now, she has almost $16,000 thanks to 183 backers. Right now, and they got 33 days left to make this happen. 33 days left. They are trying to hit 50,000. They're trying to hit $50,000. So, you guys that are able to donate, I'm sure she would greatly appreciate it. And you know, this is something that her food truck, it's popular. Before the fire and all that went down, it was really popular. You know, she was making some, from what I was hearing from folks, she was making some damn good food, good ass tasty food. I mean, the way that she had this elevating, I mean, you're just going, you know, is there any way we can get her with Jim Ross? You know, Jim Ross barbecue sauce, and get ODB in there and her food truck and come up with some type of, you know, bomb ass recipes or whatever. You know, maybe they could put something out in the stores there, because like that just seems like it seems like peanut butter and jelly, don't it? When you stop and think about that, OBD, you know, ODB and Jim Ross. Yeah, you know, food. Yeah, why not, right? Hell, even do a podcast, right? There you go, Conrad. There's your next show, buddy. You got your Grilling with JR. There's your next show. You know, Cooking with ODB and JR. I don't know what you call that show. I don't know if you call that show Bam Slobber Good, or I don't know what the fuck you call it. But yeah, they're trying to hit $50,000. And the way you would be able to find this, I think all you have to do is just type in ODB and then type in Indiegogo. And I'm doing that right now. Yeah. So in a Bing or Google search, all you got to do is type in ODB Indiegogo. And it is the very first link that you see. It says help ODB get cooking again. And I'm going to be paying very close attention to that. I'm actually going to post this on social media. And for those of you wondering if I'm actually going to donate, I will be donating. I will be donating in my actual name. I actually get paid tomorrow. So I will actually be donating. So if you're going through there and, you know, you're looking and everything, let me look here. Yeah, you'll be able to, can you even see on Indiegogo? I'm curious. Can you even see what they're, I don't think you can. I don't think you can. But hey, check this out. Here's something cool. For those of you that like a little something something as a result of donating. So check this out. If you donate $20, you get a personalized autographed photo from her. $25, you get hot sauce signed by her. Let's see, what else here? That's interesting. Okay, she's got two. Okay, so the $25 one, that's for hot sauce. You get hot sauce signed. And then there's another $25 one, signed barbecue. And then you get the food truck t-shirt, which is $30. $40, she'll send you a video. $45, she gives you the 2 bottles and they're signed. $100, you get a call from ODB. The whole shebang, so you get the picture, you get the sauces, you get the t-shirt, and I think you get the call as well. $200. That was $200, okay. And then there's another $200. You get the top contributor title, a plaque to remember you by. Here we go. We're getting into the heavy hitters now. Once in a lifetime. What the hell does that consist of? Okay, there we go. The personalized signed photo, 10-minute phone call, ODB's first title outfit. Nice. Ultimate VIP ODB meet and greet. Only available in Midwest states or 5-hour drive from Minnesota. You get to party with her. And after her food truck is back on the road, she'll come to you. This includes enough food and drinks, water, soda for you and 24 of your closest friends. Damn, this actually sounds kind of good. All right, and then, goddamn, okay, we got 2 more. I'm like, how many more of these you got? All right, we got 2 more here. Once in a lifetime, $4,000. Personalized signed photo. AEW pay-per-view outfit with accessories. Okay. 10-minute phone call. Not bad. And the ultimate one, $6,000. What we got going on here? If you're in the continental US, ODB will even hand deliver the dress to you. A dress? Wait a minute. Say what? There's nothing more than nothing more iconic than a camouflage wedding dress worn on national TV by the one and only ODB. It also includes the ring used in the ceremony as well. You want to hear the best part? If you're in the continental US, ODB will even hand deliver the dress to you in public places. I like how she put in parentheses, in public places.
Hey there, man. You think you can come over to my house after 11 o'clock with that nice white wedding dress? I want you to try it on, baby.
Cool, man. Let's see. Deliver dress to you in public and take you to happy hour in a local spot. Also included personalized signed photo. I think that should be photos for $6,000. 10-minute phone call. You get the ring worn wedding dress and the ring. Okay. So there you go, guys. You all get some freaking perks with that. You can't go wrong with that. So check that out when you guys get a chance. Seriously. And look, if you're in a position right now where your money is tight, you can't donate, just spread that link around. You got the social media. Just spread it all around, man. That's the best thing that you can do. And also, one more thing I want to talk about. Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler has an interesting match that's going to be coming up at CWA No Surrender. I don't know how many of you guys had heard about this, but it's coming up on January 18th, 2020. He's going to be putting his career on the line. You heard me right. He's going to be putting his career on the line against Matt Rivera at CWA's No Surrender. And this is going to be against the Arkansas heavyweight champion, LVR boy, Matt Rivera, title versus career. So if you guys want to check out the video on their rivalry that's going to be leading up to this January event, you guys can definitely check it out. It's on YouTube. You guys can check it out on YouTube. So who do you think is going to win that one? I mean, is that a no-brainer? Man, just saying, man, it kind of seems like that, but kind of curious. I'll talk about MLW Super Fight Card. I'll talk about that on Wednesday because we got AEW and the NXT joint that's going to be going down this Wednesday. So I'll talk about MLW's card on that show. I will also, because we usually do anyway, I'll also talk about Impact Wrestling. I sadly did not get a chance to check out the debut episode. And I think it's really weird too, by the way. You see the ratings and the viewership numbers for AEW, for Raw, for SmackDown, for NXT, but there's nothing for Impact Wrestling, which is really, really weird. Really, really weird. I don't know what's going on with that, and it's got me wondering, like, okay, well, what's the numbers for all the other shows that's on Access TV? But my challenge to anybody, if you guys know how Impact Wrestling had did for their debut on Access TV, give me a link so I can actually see it. But like, that's something I've been looking for since they premiered last week, and I have not seen anything. And I'm most curious how they're doing, because it'd be nice to get some type of a gauge on, okay, this is how this show is doing on this network compared to what was previously in its slot, compared to what the other shows are doing, right? I mean, it's kind of unfair to compare Impact Wrestling on Access TV to other shows, but at the same time, you still want to know what type of audience are they bringing in, right? Because we kept hearing about how, hey, this is a better deal. This is better than what they had with Pursuit. It's definitely better than what they were doing with Twitch and everything. So it's kind of weird that still no numbers are out there. Hey, before we roll out, let's give a shout out to our Patreon members, man. Love our Patreons. Patreon.com/RCWR show. Check out bonus audio video content, great majority of which you won't be able to find anywhere else. Patreon.com/RCWR show. Shout out to my good friend Anthony Missionary Thomas from Wrestling Soup. Hope you're doing okay. I gotta catch up with him and find out how the hell he's been doing. Also, on a sidebar, shout out to my man Shaheen from Nuclear Heat Graphics. Hope it goes well for you this weekend. Shaheen is actually going to be at StarCast this weekend, and he's going to have a table there. But he's also in the StarCast catalogs for this year. A lot of his artwork is actually featured all throughout that. So that's really cool for the program itself, for the StarCast program. There's a lot of his artwork that's in there. So hope it goes well for you this weekend, Shaheen. And also shout out to John Davis, John Krauser, Sean Kinter, Justin Ripstock, Tony Bing Gaming. If you want the latest in Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Super Wars, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 for the Nintendo Switch, Tony Bing Gaming. He's your man to go to for walkthroughs, tutorials, the whole 9 yards. Good shit. Love Tony Bing Gaming. He's got a Patreon page as well. Shout out to Freddie, Michael Wolf, Joe Raymond Jr. Shout out to everybody. Did I mention John Davis? That's like a running gag, because like the past few shows I've been... Did we plug John Davis? I like saying John Davis. All right, so shout out to all of those cats. And yeah, so your next show is going to be this Wednesday, which is November the 6th. We'll be on Spreaker, the RCWR show app, YouTube, Discord. We'll be live as soon as AEW and NXT goes off the air. Meantime, be kind, rewind. Check out previous episodes of the RCWR show you may have missed. And before we get ready to wrap it up, can I just say this was a great turnout we had. I see that there was a decent amount of people that had checked out the stream. I've been looking at the numbers just rising. I appreciate that. Look, if you guys had enjoyed the show, please, man, definitely leave the comments. And if you're watching the web stream, particularly, because I see that's where the numbers are really high, click on that thumbs up and everything. That's much appreciated. Definitely subscribe, all that good stuff. Subscribe all throughout. In case you missed it, we are on Pandora, so we do want to give a special shout out to our Pandora audience. Was checking out the statistics literally yesterday, and I couldn't believe it. And I grabbed the missus. I said, look at this. This is all from Pandora. And she goes, wow. It's like, and how long have you been on Pandora now? I said, my God, it's probably, I think maybe a month at that, right? She's like, well, that's pretty good. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. So we do want to give a shout out to our Pandora audience. We do love and appreciate you guys. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. You know, pleased to meet you. Nice to know me. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And that is going to do it. Until Wednesday, I'm wishing all y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Thank you for checking out the show live. Special shout out for those of you who will be checking this out on demand and on the downloads. Ta-ta for now.